Hey everybody, and welcome to our early comics review video. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're the Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our really big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that are coming out this week to your local comic book store, if it's Infinity Flux or somewhere else, or if you get books shipped to you from infinityflux.net. This gives you a little bit of an idea of what to expect.
Absolutely.
There's some really good books, a very diverse selection of books coming out this week. We can't wait to talk about, but like I said earlier, head over to infinityflux.net right now where you can buy these books that we're talking about while supplies last, plus plenty of other stuff on there. So head on over to infinityflux.net right now and let's get on with the show.
We're going to start with Web of Spider-Man. Now, don't get too excited. This isn't a new Web of Spider-Man like the one that ran through the 80s and 90s. This is a one-shot with various writers, various artists, and I believe there's 8 different very short stories in these, giving us little previews of stories that are to come over the course of the next year with Peter, with Miles, with Spider-Woman, with Norman Osborn, and a bunch of different characters. But it's not like it's like pages from those books. These are original pages drawn for this book. But we get things like a preview of a rematch between Spider-Man and Tombstone now that Gang War is over. We get a little preview of Miles having another confrontation with Hightail, and also maybe a little bit of a lead-in to Blood Hunt. The preview in this says to be continued in Miles Morales number 21, which is coming out fairly soon. And that might lead into Blood Hunt, because there was a little something there about vampires. We get a preview that we talked about on Friday, where Spider-Woman's traveling to San Francisco. And we talked about that on Comics from the Future. I think it was Spider-Woman number 6, where when she gets there, she learns about some other heroes that are already there that may end up forming the new champions. And we get a little tiny preview of that in this. Norman Osborn as the Gold Goblin, taking the Grave Goblin back to Limbo from that quick little story arc with Wreck Rap. There's a little bit about Spider-Gwen that's going to lead into her new ongoing series where she's stuck on Earth 616. There's a bit with Chasm getting out of Limbo. There's a Spider-Man 2099 little bit there.
Yeah, that's spun out of Edge of the Spider-Verse number 1.
Right.
And
the Spider Society and all that.
All that.
And then my favorite one was a little 5-page Spectacular Spider-Men story that wasn't really so much a preview. It wasn't really previewing anything. It was just a cool little 5-page story of Peter and Miles going to get coffee, and then they have to stop some bad guys, and it was just really fun. So yeah, just some previews of various Spider stories to come in various Spider books over the next year. So if you want to know what's coming, pick this up and, maybe get a little taste of that. So we've got our A cover right there by Greg Capullo. So cool to see him doing Spider-Man. We've got this Alex Maleev variant. And then there is this 1 in 25 Paco Medina variant. I really like that one a lot. We're selling that one for $50.
Yeah, there's, I don't know if it's a spoiler, but I'm not going to mention it, but there's another character that shows up in the Chasm story.
Yeah.
That I was very happy to see. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that would be considered a spoiler. Probably not, but just in case, like, people
announced something like that.
Yeah.
But that was, that was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Okay, first up for me is Cobra Commander number 3. So this is a great issue of Cobra Commander. He has been tracking the Energon down into the Florida Everglades, where he ran in previously to the Dreadnoks, and in his attempt to get away, all that kind of stuff, fell in an alligator swamp, all that. Well, this picks up. Cobra Commander has been taken captive, where you can see right here on the cover, and they are brutal.
Yeah, this is not your dad's G.I. Joe Saturday morning cartoons. They are...
No, they're pretty ruthless. Even, there's a scene where one walks in and no one's safe. Even if you have a comment, you may not be safe when someone tough walks in the room. But this is really cool because as they're trying to basically figure out why did this guy show up here? How does he know about this Energon stuff? They are torturing him to get information, but Cobra Commander is in no way helpless in this
Right.
situation, because this is what I really like. And I remember Joshua Williamson talking about this early on when he was talking about Cobra Commander. Cobra Commander is not necessarily your like one-on-one fighting guy or weapons expert or anything like that. His main ability is his ability to persuade people.
Yeah.
And he does some really cool stuff here where he starts playing mind games with the Dreadnoks and makes him even scarier of a character with how easy he can do this.
Yeah.
But great issue. I also love you do find out the true identity of his bodyguard that's been with him. They got separated for a little while, but you find out who
And I
that
think
is.
we talked about that. We're like, is that so and so? And I was like, I'm not sure, maybe,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. But yeah, it's really cool. The reveal of it is really cool.
Yeah, and that sets up the stage for the next issue that's gonna
Yeah.
be also pretty over the top.
Yeah.
But just a lot of great stuff in this. You've got some just moments with Cobra Commander where that feeling of like, you know, if he was not bound, that these dreadnoks would be gone.
Yeah.
By what they're doing to him and everything. But just continues to be one of the best. Just everything Energon universe is so much fun.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the next ones. And we've only got 2 issues left of Cobra Commander.
That's right.
But you know, we're going to be getting the Scarlet and Destro stuff coming up. So this is in no way slowing down. Also want to mention coming out this week is G.I. Joe Real American Hero number 305. This is another really fun issue where you've got all of your pieces where you've got Cobra Commander kind of learning about Serpentor's plans and Dr. Mindbender's plans. You've got Dawn Marino, who has to get out of town real quick because she is in Springfield, the Cobra town. Just a lot of really fun stuff.
All the different groups are starting to converge, like Cobra Commander learning what Serpentor is up to, but Serpentor also knowing what Cobra Commander is doing, and then Dawn reaching out to Duke and them dealing with the blue ninjas that are sort of creeping around the pit. Like all of these different groups of people that we've been following, they're starting to converge. I think it's gonna all end up being pretty explosive.
Learning about each other.
Yeah.
You're kind of finding out what their reasons for doing certain things are. So continues to be great. The art still is fantastic in this. Really fun. So we've got some variants for both of these books. Starting with, we've got this Cobra Commander by Azaceta. Very cool. We've got, this one's fun. This is the Chris Burnham 1 in 10 variant. We're selling for $10.
And that one, I believe, connects with the other ones.
Yeah.
That came out.
We've got this 1 in 25 Petrides variant that we're selling for $25 with Zorana. And we've got this 1 in 50 Carl Kerschel variant we're selling for $40. There's the whole gang right there. And then for Real American Heroes, we have the black and white variant like they've been doing for all of these. And we have this 1 in 10 Segala variant we're selling for $10. Or G.I. Joe fun, then you can shake a Cobra at. But I would not suggest shaking a Cobra.
Definitely not. All right, so next for me is Dawnrunner number 1. This is a new series from Dark Horse, written by Ron V. The art is by Evan Cagle. And the best way to get a really good idea about what this is about is think of Pacific Rim. Think about how, what that movie's like with the giant kaiju and the big mechs that people pilot to fight the kaiju. That's very similar to what this is, but with some differences. So basically the story goes that 100 years ago, there was this portal that opened over Central America, and these giant monsters named Tetza came through. And of course, we've heard this story before about how the nations of the world unite to take on a bigger threat. The nations of the world united here. They created these big mechs called Iron Kings to fight these giant monsters called Tetza. Now, there's a corporation, a giant corporation named the Cordenware Corporation. It's one of the largest companies who develop these giant mechs, but they also study the Tetza as well. And not only that, but they have sort of turned these battles between the Iron Kings and the Tetza into a hugely popular TV show. And it's not like a constant battle. It's like when, oh, there's another one coming through. We got to launch a mech out to take care of it, that kind of thing. And they film it and people watch it on TV. So one of their actually probably I think their top pilot and the star of their show is a woman named Anita Marr, and you can see her. That's her little bit right there. And in this issue, she's fought these giant monsters before, but in this issue, she takes out a brand new mech called the Dawnrunner to fight a new Tetsuya that's come through the portal. And she's a little bit unsure. She's like, I know it's just a machine, but I feel like I've grown, like my other mech, and we understand each other, and I feel weird taking out a new one. So that's basically the gist of this first issue is that, you have this superstar pilot in a brand new mech going to fight a giant monster. But there is a little bit of a twist at the end that adds an extra layer of complexity to the whole story that I won't tell you what it is, partly because I didn't quite understand it myself, and we're not supposed to. It happened right at the end, and we'll get more information as the next story comes, or as the next issue comes out. But yeah, cool new. I mean, I love stories with giant mechs fighting giant monsters, and that's what this is. But with a little something extra that turns the whole thing on its ear that'll be interesting to learn as it comes out. So that is Dawnrunner. Really good. That's our A cover right there. We have this Ron Raun Ron variant, which looks really good. That's your mech, the Dawnrunner, right there. And then we have this 1 in 10 Tula Lotte variant that we're selling for $10, and that's Anita Marr right there. And that's kind of what it looks like when they get in the mech 2, they sort of get in this goo, kind of like Evangelion,
yeah.
and they sort of get in this pod.
Organic.
Yeah, exactly.
Looking.
Yeah.
Well, next up for me is one that this is the reason why we do the show is to explain some stuff like this. And I've been following this for a while, so I'm really glad it's finally out and we get to talk about it. This is Nacelleverse number 0. So Nacelle is a company that makes toys. They also made the shows, The Toys That Made Us and the Movies That Made Us. Then they got into buying up different licenses of classic 80s and 90s toys, producing them. Now they're going on to make these comic series using those properties. There is Netflix shows coming very soon, and they did a combined universe with these. So a bunch of different properties that maybe you never thought could go together are finally coming together. So this involves, we've got RoboForce, Biker Mice from Mars, Sectars, Power Lords, and the Great Garloo. Now, how do they pull all those together? So we meet Garloo, who is just this little green guy right here. You may remember the original toy of Garloo. And he is he loves his home planet and everything, but he needs to find a job. So he leaves to kind of go through space and meet a bunch of different people to find work. But when he decides he finally needs to go back home, he learns that his planet has been destroyed. So because of that, there's someone who overhears this, a delivery person, like this alien delivery person, who says, I'll tell you what, I heard your story. You can come along with me, and as I'm making deliveries, you can check out these other worlds and see what could maybe be a good home world for you. Now, it also helps that he witnessed Garloo, who has a special power that he can go from this little guy to hulking out into this big monster guy. So he also kind of thinks this is going to be a good bodyguard for some of my missions. So essentially, that's what this issue is. You have this delivery guy and Garloo going to the different planets, and they have little adventures on each one. So they go to the homeworld of the Power Lords, where there is kind of a rebellion rising up, and he helps out with that. We see them go to Mars, where the biker mice, he has a run-in with the biker mice who warn him there's some people who are smuggling weapons off of Mars to Earth, and that takes a whole different turn and everything. So there's a story going on. It's not just like a cavalcade of planets.
Yeah.
You learn a little bit, like maybe this delivery driver is not being completely honest with him and all this stuff. But you get to see these places. They go to the homeworld of the sectars, and they fight giant insects and all this kind of stuff. Really fun, and eventually end up at Earth where Roboforce is.
Mm.
Roboforce, coming out of this, will be our first series, mini series coming up, I believe, in April. So Roboforce comes out in April. Then we have Biker Mice from Mars, which I believe is June. Uh, there's kind of a 3-issue miniseries, I think, a month coming out of this universe. And I believe that will time up pretty close with the Netflix show coming out. So if you're a fan of some of these classic properties, these toys, and you kind of like the idea of the shared universe with these things, it's very Thundercats, He-Man, that kind of thing, but with a little bit more obscure characters. So really, really fun one here. It's an oversized first issue. I believe it is it's only $5.99, and definitely a big kind of oversized fun issue. And they're going to continue this. There's even some hints at other properties, other classic 80s and 90s properties that will be coming into this that you may be familiar with. So think toy collectors, people like that who have fondness for this will really, really enjoy it. So that is our A cover for that, and I believe we are already sold out of the variants.
Oh, wow.
So jump on it while supplies last.
Well, next for me is Man's Best #1. This is a new title from Boom, written by Pornsock Pishishote, and the artist is Jesse Lonergan. And this is about this crew of a starship, the Starship Horizon. They have taken off into space because they are looking for the planet Epsilon 32, which they were going to terraform and move humanity to that planet, since Earth is no longer livable in the story, or getting close to not being livable. But the planet disappeared, like just out of nowhere, and that's one of the mysteries they're trying to solve on the ship. Well, one of the scientists named Dr. Winters, she actually brought her emotional support animals with her, and you can see there's 2 dogs and a cat right here on this cover. She brought them with her, and the crew loves having them there. And she trains them, and she puts them in these mech suits, so not quite as elaborate as what we saw in Dawnrunner, but like this dog has a rocket strapped to his back, and the cat wears this little tiny mech suit, and the other dog has one too. And she has them train on like a holodeck to help keep the crew safe. Well, one day when the ship gets to where it's going to go, the planet just suddenly appears out of nowhere, and the sudden gravity causes the ship to crash down to the planet. And when the pets wake up after the crash, they realize that the crew has disappeared. Like the entire crew is gone, so they have to hop in their little mech suits and start traversing the land to try to figure out where the crew is to try to save them. But of course, it's not going to be such an easy journey. They're going to run into some obstacles and some things like that. So it was really cool. Very homeward bound, but with a sci-fi bend to it.
The little robot suits are really cute too.
Yeah, they are. They are cute, and like one of the little robots they're fighting on the holodeck, it's really cute. Like everything about and the animals talk to each other, but obviously they don't talk like to where the humans can understand them, but you can understand them as they talk to each other. There's been a lot of really good animal books lately, and so this is another one, but with a bit of a sci-fi twist to it. So yeah, Man's Best. That's a lot of fun. So there's our A cover right there. We have our Forstner variant right there, very stray dogs, right? And then this is the J. Lee variant. And then we have this 1 in 10 Franny variant that we're selling for $8. That's a really good look at sort of what what the animals put on. And then this is the 1 per store Lonergan variant that we're selling for $20.
Awesome. Yeah, a lot of animal books coming out.
Yeah.
Like Pets, specifically. We've got that Feral.
Feral comes out next week.
Yeah, so a lot of really good stuff. Great time to be a fan of animals and comics.
Yep.
Okay, speaking of being fans of things, hopefully you're a fan of Star Wars, because there's a couple of new really cool Star Wars books out. So starting with Jango Fett #1, This is by Ethan Sachs, and the art is by Luke Ross. Ethan Sachs just finished up his run on Star Wars Bounty Hunters. So going on to one of the greatest bounty hunters, Jango Fett. This is set, it seems like probably around the time of episode 1, maybe a little bit before. Valorum is the Chancellor. He was the Chancellor in episode 1. But in this, we see there's these two species living on a planet together, kind of cohabitating on there. They used to get along. Now there's a lot of animosity between them, and they are there's kind of a third party. I think it's kind of the Republic heading it up. They've got this piece from a museum they got a long time ago, but it kind of represents the unity of these two people, and they each kind of have a precious stone in this art piece, and they're kind of giving it back to the peoples to maybe reignite that camaraderie between them. But as soon as it's revealed, some masked, black armored people show up and steal it. So now you have both of these two people who want to get it back, but they're still very much at odds with each other. Also, it's very strange to people that stole it. The few that there's one that got away, but the other ones, when they got killed by the people there, they turned into dust. They just kind of disappeared. So kind of a mystery there, but the tensions are still high with these people. So they decide to hire Jango Fett to go. He's the best bounty hunter, the best tracker to hunt down these people and get this item back. But it also looks like he wasn't the first person they went to. Maybe they tried to hire some other bounty hunters too. He thought he was the only one, but now he's going to have to compete with a bunch of other bounty hunters to find this. So it sets up a really fun miniseries. It's just starting, so we don't even quite know all the elements that are involved. Also, the Republic seem like they have something that they want to stop Jango Fett from doing this, or maybe a sect of the Republic that's not so good wants to stop him, and maybe wants this war to happen on this planet. So a lot of interesting stuff here. We do have some first appearances. There's I guess you call it like a bounty droid, but one that kind of gives out the bounties that runs a place called Y399. And there's a character which I believe is new. We only see him briefly, but he seems like he's going to play a big part in this, named Vigor Struck. That seems he was also in the place with a lot of the bounty hunters, and when stuff starts to get rowdy, he seemed to come out on top. So a lot of really interesting stuff there in Jango Fett #1. We've got some great variants for this one also. So we've got the movie variant, the classic from episode 2. We've got this is the Derek Chew variant. And we have, here's one of the characters that appears, but only briefly, but I think it's going to play a bigger role later. This is the 1 in 25 David Marquez variant with Aura Singh that we're selling for $25. And that is it for that one.
Well, next is one that it's going to be pretty brief. This is Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees #4. And the reason it's going to be brief is because it's really hard to talk about this one without spoiling everything, because in this one, we finally learn who the killer is that has been killing people in Woodbrook. The killer that Sam has been looking for in order to make sure that the investigation doesn't land on her. So we finally find out who that is. Sam finds out who that is, and Sam confronts that person, but it doesn't quite go so well for her. And that's pretty much it. Like, that's all I can say without spoiling anything. This is not the last issue, though. I think there's at least one more. I don't remember if it's 5 or 6 issues, so there's at least one more, maybe 2 more. But it's just so great because, again, you've got these cutesy little animal people, but, they're getting murdered, and it doesn't, a lot of the imagery isn't so great. There's one panel in this in particular that's just crazy, but just wanted to, I know that a lot of people around here have been buying this, so just wanted to let you know that it's out this week, the next part, and this is a big one. If you've been reading this story, this is a big one, because like I said, we learn who the killer is, and there's more craziness.
The other killer.
Yeah, the other killer, right? And there is just more craziness to come after this. So, Number 4, very, very good. That's our A cover right there. And then we have, just like all the other ones, this really nice Raleigh Rossmo variant. It kind of looks like a storybook cover. It's so good.
Well, next up, I've got another Star Wars book. This one has been, it was solicited a couple of times. It got pushed and pushed. Finally out. This is Star Wars Visions by Takashi Okazaki. And this is a continuation of the story of the Ronin Jedi that had first appeared in the first season of the Star Wars Visions series on Disney Plus. Kind of a Elseworld story that's kind of feudal Japan mixed with Star Wars. And we've always seen our main character, this Ronin, with this droid that's got the straw hat. He's kind of a R2 or R5 unit, but with this straw hat. So this issue is a kind of a prequel to all the other ones, but it's less about the Ronin and more about the droid, and in a really cool way. So we find out about the previous owner of this droid, a Sith named Master Okina, and he's I don't know how the Sith work in this, but he doesn't seem that bad. But he does seem kind of long lived and everything. He's established on this planet that's full of trash, full of derelict ships and armor and stuff washing up on the beaches. But he has a pretty good life. He has some friends there that are, a little surly, a little piratey, but seem to be good people. Over the course of time, though, he's the last one left there with his droid, and he starts having visions of a lone lightsaber wielding person coming to him and leaving with his droid. Now, what does this mean? How does all of this kind of work together? You have to read to find out, but it was a really, really good, very kind of touching issue with fantastic art. Just some of the best kind of manga style, over the top action.
Visually, it looks great. Yeah,
very sweeping landscapes. And it's also kind of a black and white and red issue. I believe red is the only color that is in this one. So if you're a fan of the previous ones, definitely check this one out. But even if it's your first time checking one out, this one is still a good jumping on point. So that is the Star Wars Visions by Takashi Okazaki. And we've got some variants for this. Of course, we've got a Peach Momoko variant with our Ronin Jedi. We've got a Stan Sakai variant, straight out of Usagi. And we have this 1 in 25 Wolf's Protashio variant that we're selling for at $25. That's really cool.
Yeah,
and
nice.
that's your former, is that the, no, that's the Ronin Jedi also.
Well, next is Wonder Woman number 7. Now, this issue is a little bit different than the rest of the series so far, and there's a note in here, like an editor's note, that says that this story takes place between issues 5 and 6. So I don't know. It would have been weird for it to come out between 5 and 6, though, because that would have been like it just would have been like brought the story to a weird halt. So this is number 7, but it takes place after issue number 5, and it takes a bit of a break from the Sovereign story that they've been telling. And instead, in this story, Wonder Woman and Superman travel to this giant galactic mall, basically called the Andromeda Mall. It's the galaxy's biggest mall, basically, and they go there to find a birthday present for Batman. But it's not as easy as they think. They have lots of ideas while they're there, but none of them seem right. So it's just a really fun story to it's all Superman and Wonder Woman. They're walking around this gigantic galactic mall trying to figure out what to get Batman, and while they're trying to figure it out, they decide to do some things for themselves to try to then figure out what Batman would like instead. And it was really cool to see them just sort of hanging out, and it really does a great job of illustrating their close
I
friendship.
was about to say, I love when the Justice League are presented as friends
Yeah.
too. They're close, like family.
Yeah, and that's this to a T. It's all Superman and Wonder Woman, like I said, just being friends, having fun. Like they do some goofy things, like go see a 5D movie in the mall, and there's some other stuff too. They get like coffee and ice cream and stuff like that, and it's just really, really fun. A really good laid back story about Superman and Wonder Woman being friends before we get to the next issue, which is going to ramp the next big chapter of this Sovereign story. It's going to get that all set up. So just a really nice, fun, laid back story of Superman and Wonder Woman. That's our A cover right there. This is a really nice so is a Micah cover with Wonder Woman. I love that. And this is kind of the you can't really see it on the camera, but it's Wonder Woman's skin. It looks like the duotone print.
Oh, yeah.
It looks really, really good. We have this really nice Ramona Freydon variant. Rest in peace. She passed away not too long ago. That's a really cool cover there. This is Julian Totino Tedesco, featuring Wonder Woman in her 80s getup when she had the leather jacket and the shorts, and that didn't last too long. And then this is a 1 in 25 Melina variant that we're selling for $20.
Well, I've got a really fun DC book. DC's just pulling out the like fun issues this week
Yeah.
with DC's Ape-ril Special. So, funny enough, not April yet. Still got a little while in March, but this is a great joke, DC, releasing an April one in March. But
They're like, we can't wait till April. This is so funny. We
Yeah.
got to put it out now.
so when it becomes, April 1st, right on the dot, you can read this. You don't have to wait.
Right.
So this is has 3 stories in it by one by John Layman, one by Joshua Helfiokov, and one by Jean Lin Yang. We've got art by Carl Mostert, Phil Hester, and Bernard Chang. But the first one's kind of the main story in this. So we've got a character which I don't think I've ever read anything with, Sam Simeon, who is also a ape detective. He's kind of a gorilla detective.
You can never have too many
No.
ape detectives.
There's some really funny gags in this and stuff, but it's a pretty, I wouldn't say serious story, but it's not like slapstick or anything
No.
like that. So Sam Simeon is investigating some missing apes from a zoo. When he is kind of in the area looking for him, he runs into Detective Chimp, who is also looking for some missing primates from, I believe, another place. And then Monkey Prince shows up and is like, hey, did y'all hear about all these missing primates from around town? And Monkey Prince shows up missing an arm. Now, if you know him, he has detachable limbs, but he said he met a French accented gorilla who ripped off his own arm and beat him with it. And so they all understand, oh, this is Monsieur Mala.
Monsieur Mala, yeah.
Is behind this. Well, Monsieur Mala, which this, I guess, is in continuity because it says, during the events of Flash, Gorilla Grodd has kind of been taken off the table.
Yeah.
Monsieur Mala now wants to step up and become the leader of kind of all the gorillas of the DC universe, and he's got a plan to do that, bringing together some of the other villainous apes. We've got Jackanape, Titano, Silverback, and they all kind of want to create this like Legion of Doom of monkey people. And when the heroes track down, basically they find out where all the apes and monkeys and everything are being held. They're all missing one arm. So what is this? And what does it have to do with the idea of a monkey's paw? You'll have to read it to find out, but it's a really fun issue. You see, I believe it's Sam Simeon who declares that they are the Jungle League of America. And they bring in some more ape-related characters you can see on the cover. Really, really fun. There's a lot of funny jokes in it, but it's also just a really good story. Great Detective Chimp stuff. The second story in it is a Detective Chimp story that's really, really good with the art by Phil Hester. It's a very dark story where a man named Doug has just killed someone on a rainy night. He has like a rock with blood on it. And he's kind of disposing of the body, and that's where he finds Detective Chimp needing to hitch a ride. And now Doug worries, did Detective Chimp, who he doesn't know can talk at first, see anything? Or is he going to have to silence Detective Chimp too? Or will Detective Chimp figure out what happened based on the clues, and he's a really good detective? And then the third story actually comes back to the first story where Monkey Prince tracks down Monsieur Mala after the events of the first story. It's a really fun one. So I just highly recommend this one if you like fun one-shot stories, you like some of those characters, especially like I feel like that second, the Detective Chimp murder mystery story is really good, and the art is fantastic in it. Almost reminds you of like a Hellboy
Okay.
type
Oh yeah.
story, but with Detective Chimp. So definitely give this one a whirl. It's really, really fun. You've got a couple more characters on the cover I didn't mention, but they do show up.
I love that DC has enough monkey characters to
Oh
make
yeah,
a full book with all of them.
they could have even more. Oh, there's also a Mr. Mala reads from, I can't remember what it's called, but it's the monkey version of the Necronomicon. And it looks like the one from Evil Dead, but instead of like a human face screaming on it, it's like an ape face. It's just great. Some great stuff. We also have this variant. There's a few variants, but this is the only one we have right now. This is the Hayden Sherman rub and smell variant. And if you rub that banana, it kind of smells like a Runts banana flavored. It's kind of that like the candy banana
Yeah,
rather than a real
yeah, it's
banana.
not
So
100% banana, but it does still it smells very good and sweet,
yeah,
but not quite banana-esque, but
so
still worthy of your nose.
yeah, so don't miss out on the rub and sniff variant for that.
All right, so next up is Superman number 12. This is the final part of the story. I don't really know what the title is, but the final part of the story featuring the Lex Luthor Revenge Squad. Last issue they released this cloud of modified kryptonite that is harmful to humans as well as Kryptonians. They released that over Metropolis. We also learn through a little bit of a backstory why they're angry with Lex, why they want revenge on Lex to begin with. Um, Superman, because the kryptonite's been modified, it'll instantly kill Superman if he breathes it in, so he can't go outside. So instead, Lex goes outside, and while Lex is out there dealing with the villains out there and dealing with the kryptonite gas outside, Superman actually kind of rallies the workers of Supercorp to find a solution. So it's kind of a nice role reversal.
Yeah.
Lex being out on the field and Superman being back in the lab. That was kind of fun to see. And then the next issue of Superman is part 2 of House of Brainiac, which is going to start in Action Comics number 1064, which is a big story that's going to, last for a couple months and lead into Absolute Power. So this is the last issue before all of that gets started. So if you've been keeping up with this story, don't miss the very last part right here.
There is a little hint to that at the very end too. There's some House of Brainiac
Oh yeah.
nods and stuff.
Yeah. There's a little bit there too. So yeah, very cool issue. There's our A cover right there. Then we have this really cool Dan Jurgens wraparound variant.
So classic.
Yeah, super awesome.
Okay, real quick, I got some rapid fire Star Wars books because there was a lot that came out this week. First off, we have Star Wars: The High Republic number 5. This was a really cool book. Keeve, our Padawan that we've been following for pretty much all of the Marvel High Republic series, finds her master Skier, who she thought was dead, but now he is feral, and she has to kind of talk him down and to remember her. We have the return of a character from Phase 2, which, if you remember, takes place like 100 or 200 years before this one. So, what's up with that? And a mysterious new young character that is not named, and I tried to do some research to find, but is not clear. But I wanted to also mention this because as of recording, tomorrow we are getting our first trailer for Star Wars The Acolyte, which takes place during the High Republic. We already know about Vernestra Rowe, who is from the comics and from the novels, who is going to be in that. But also, I'm seeing like a young character in this. It's like, okay, she would be still alive at the point of the Acolyte and everything. So you never know when a first appearance in here is going to wind up on the show. But also, I'm very excited about that trailer and getting that show in June.
Nice.
So yeah, your High Republic stuff is getting even bigger from books, comics, and now the TV show. And also, we've got Thrawn Alliances number 3, continuing the adaptation of the novel Thrawn Alliances by Timothy Zahn. What is unique about this one is we see the first appearance of the Grisks, who are a foe or kind of a people from the unknown regions that Thrawn knows about, but no one from the main Star Wars galaxy knows about. But they are coming in. They've never been depicted before, so you see them for the first time in here. So this is the first appearance of the Grisk, and they are a people who are known to be so powerful that they overwhelm you with force. These warrior people, and their ships are so many they blot out the stars. And they're kind of a thing that even Thrawn kind of didn't know if was a myth or a real thing. And so those are other things that are like have the potential to play a part in future Star Wars stories. So don't miss that. That's the first appearance of the Grisk in that. And we've got some variants. So we've got this really nice High Republic Betsy Cola variant with Ahsoka. And we have this 1 in 25 Kamen variant for High Republic that we are selling for $25 with Skier in his more savage form.
With Killer Croc.
Yes.
All right, so next is Batman Superman World's Finest number 25. Now, this is a bit of an oversized issue because we have our main story in here, but then we have a little bit of a well, I mean, technically it's a backup story, but I just lost my notes. There we go. It's a backup story, which is a prologue for the next story arc to come. But the main story in this, it's a one and done story that shows us the first meeting between Lex Luthor and the Joker. Lex Luthor has this 100-year-old manuscript that tells the location of this ancient magical artifact that's going to give the wielder untold power. But anybody who attempts to read that manuscript goes insane. So Lex gets the Joker's help reading it because Joker's already insane, and it won't affect him. So they read the map and they do the clues and everything to figure out where this thing is, but the journey doesn't go quite as planned because I mean, straight up, Lex underestimates the Joker in this. He does not. Lex Luthor has plans for his plans, but he did not plan for the Joker. And again, in this, because they've never met before, so he gravely underestimated the Joker. So there was some pretty cool stuff there. And then the backup story is it's a continuation of the World's Finest Annual, where we saw all of the fifth dimensional imp characters. That story was more of a funny story where they were all just sort of arguing and bickering with each other about which hero was the best one and that kind of thing. But this one is a little bit more serious because Mr. and Mrs. Pitalik and Batmite show up in the Batcave asking Superman and Batman for help. And they're like, yeah, whatever, guys, we don't believe you. But they do have something that proves, hey, something serious is about to happen. And Batman and Superman instantly take notice. And then, so that, even though it's a backup story, it's a prologue, and that's going to be the next story arc to come in this book. So, really good. Both stories really, really fun. So there's our A cover right there. And we got some cool variants as always for this one. This is the Jamal Campbell variant. This is the really cool one, the Dan Mora, William Shatner variant as well. I don't even know if we have, like, check the website. These always go really fast every time there's a guest appearance. So check that if you want that. There's a 1 in 25 Christian Ward variant that we're selling for $12. And then there is a 1 in 50 Steven Subic variant that we're selling for $50.
Awesome. Can't wait to read that one.
Yeah, it's really fun.
So next up, I've got Spider-Boy issue number 5. This was a super cool issue. Continues to be just a blast.
Yep.
As after the last issue where Spider-Boy kind of got mad at his friends and Spider-Man and Miles and all that and ran away. It's like, I don't need you guys anyways. So Spider-Boy's missing. Bailey is missing. And Madame Monstrosity sends Helifino. Is that how you would say his name?
Helifino.
Helifino.
Because the joke is like, what do you get if you cross an elephant with a rhino? Helifino.
Okay. I didn't even get that. Which was kind of another one of her crazy experiments that she sends after him, that she kind of convinces him that that Spider-Boy is the reason why he is the monstrosity that he is. But when they don't know where he is, they actually send Helifino to Christina, who is trying to track down where Bailey is, because they're like best friends. And it's really cool. It's really interesting. It looks like we're going to get more about Madame Monstrosity, and especially the backup story, which is usually separate.
Yeah.
It just feels like it continues right on
Yeah, it really
from
does.
the thing. Where the backup story, Spider-Boy's in the clutches of Madame Monstrosity, and we learn who maybe inspired her to become the villain that she is. And I thought that was super interesting and never
Yep.
even thought about it. But when you see it, it all makes sense.
Well, what's funny is I'd never thought about it before this issue, but after, reading through it, I was like, she kind of reminds me of this certain character. It's
Yeah.
kind of weird that there's two of them, and then that character shows up in the backup story. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I'm glad that they made that connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fitz,
Yep.
just a great issue. Continues to be one of my favorite books coming out.
Yeah.
Spider-Boy number 5. We also have this really nice Rose Besh variant. Really fun, really bright.
Yeah.
And we have a Mark Bagley variant. So, very classic feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I like how he draws Spider-Boy, too. He looks younger there,
Yeah.
too.
Well, next is Invincible Iron Man number 16. And holy cow, guys, this issue is literally nonstop action from page 1 to the last page. It's all action with Tony Stark in his new Mark 72 armor that's made all out of Mysterium, piloting the Sentinel Smasher. Which, if the Sentinels are this big, the Sentinel Smasher's like this big, right? And it's all made out of Mysterium too. And the entire issue is Tony Stark in this big Sentinel Smasher fighting the Stark Sentinels, and also Fei Long in his big Sentinel. It's a really cool book because every single page is a full page splash. So there's no like panels, telling the story. Like every single page is a full page shot of just action and laser blasts and explosions, and it's high octane. It's tons of action. The only exception is there's two double page splash. Everything else is a big single page image like this, and it's so good. And not. Well, I don't say anything else, but it's wall to wall action. It's really good, and it figures in with all the Fall of X stuff going on right now. So really good. I loved it. There's our A cover.
All the covers for this are good.
Yeah, all the covers. This is a Chris Allen Stormbreakers variant with Riri Williams. And then, holy cow, this Jang cover. That looks incredible. And then you got your Mark Brooks headshot variant.
Gold armor.
Yeah, that's like Avengers number 2 Iron Man.
So I say, is that like Mark II?
I don't remember. There was a reason for the gold, I think, but I don't remember what it is.
Is it melts faster?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, next up, I've got one that I wasn't expecting to be as big of a deal as it was. This is Titans number 9. So this is where I feel like a lot of the big story is going down in DC, because Titans are your premier team at DC. I don't want to say how this opens, but when it opened, I was like, whoa. It looks like this story is a bigger deal than what we thought initially. It may reach to the point of alerting people like the Spectre that something is going down.
Okay.
So that's how this begins. But so we know that Raven is kind of her demonic side is in control of the body right now, under kind of the sway of Trigun, her father. And the good part of Raven is in the crystal in her forehead. Well, a lot of this is actually Trigon, who loves how this is going down. He's happy with Raven and everything, but he is worried that the Titans would be able to sway Raven to become good again. So he needs to have kind of a person that he can be a go-between to Earth to get the help of Amanda Waller to take out the Titans. So you'll have to read it to find out. But you want to see a really cool moment of Amanda Waller standing up to Trigon and intimidating him.
Nice.
Fantastic stuff.
I love Amanda Waller. Like she's so great.
It's pretty incredible. Also, meanwhile, with the Teen Titans, you're still dealing with the problem of, for the most part, people love the Titans. They just helped when there was a hurricane, and they not only like rescue people, but they stayed after to help rebuild and all of that. But they still really hate Beast Boy. And this deals a lot with that and kind of the hate and fear that Beast Boy is receiving, and the evil version of Raven is not helping those matters. So don't miss this issue of Titans, because this is some big, heavy swinging stuff in this one that I feel like is really setting up future storylines you don't want to miss. So we've got our A cover right there. We also have this Sway variant, Starfire. And we have this 1 in 25 Yannick Paquette variant that we're selling for $20.
Well, next for me, real quick, is Vengeance of the Moon Knight number 3. We still don't know who the new Moon Knight is, so I'll go ahead and just put that out there now. But this issue goes back and forth between Soldier talking to Dr. Sturman about how he feels responsible for Moon Knight's death because he wasn't there to save him at the end of the last series. So it goes back and forth between that and also some of Moon Knight's foes attacking the Midnight Mission because the new Moon Knight is terrorizing them. They even go so far as to say, Moon Knight, they say something like Moon Knight always kind of left us alone. Like if we didn't cause too much of a ruckus, he didn't really mess with us at all. But now this new Moon Knight is much more ruthless. And so he's going after these villains, so they're going to go back after the Midnight Mission and Soldier and Reese and Tigra and Hunter's Moon, and so it just sort of goes back and forth between those two. But then the crew at the Midnight Mission, they are bound and determined to go on the offensive and try to find this new Moon Knight, take him down once and for all. So just another really, really great issue of this, and the mystery still, who is it? I don't know yet, but I have some theories. But there's our A cover right there, and then we have this Dyke Rand cover, which is really cool. And then here's a 1 in 25 Marco Mastrazzo variant that we're selling for $25.
Next up, I've got X-Men Forever #1. It won't take me long to talk about this one because...
It won't take forever?
It will not take forever because this was a little too deep of a dive for me. This is, if you have been reading Immortal X-Men, this is where that story continues. So this is by Gillen, and the art is by Maresca. Looks beautiful. This deals with characters like Mystique, Destiny, Mr. Sinister, Mother Righteous, all that crew, Xavier. But because I was not fully caught up on Immortal X-Men, I did not completely understand all of this. But if you did, you'll really like this because it does deal with stuff that ties in with a lot of the Fall of the X stuff that's going on right now. The stuff about what's going to happen to Jean Grey. Just all of that. So this is my thing. Yes, it is a #1, but this is mostly for people who have been reading Immortal X-Men and know some more of those high concepts that books like that were dealing with. If you understand who Mother Righteous is and her play in all of this, you should be good. That's still a character that I don't fully understand. So all that to say, check it out. It's beautiful. I love this Mark Brooks cover. But when you see the #1 on there, it's not the beginning of a new series. This is the beginning of a new mini-series that's wrapping up a lot of the ties that have been going on for years. So that is our A cover for that. We also have this really nice Lyrics variant with Mystique. A great kind of cold open with Mystique and Destiny in the past that I really, really liked. We also have this Mark Brooks headshot variant.
Well, last for me is Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong #6. This is the next to last issue. There's one more coming out after this. But this issue is all out action. You've got the Justice League taking on the Legion of Doom, but also various kaiju. But the Legion of Doom are kind of sort of controlling the kaiju a little bit, but the Justice League, they put some stuff together. They have a few little tricks up their sleeve as well. There's two really cool moments in this that I won't tell you. I want you to experience it for yourself as you turn that page and see it for yourself. But very, very cool moments. Wall-to-wall action. I love a book that's just full of action. I'm a big kid that way. And you definitely get it in spades in this. Lots of heroes, lots of villains, big monsters, all kinds of cool stuff. So Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, number 6. One more issue to go after this. That's our A cover right there. We got a couple variants. This is the Francis Manapul variant. This is the In-Hyuk Lee variant.
It's a good Godzilla head.
Yeah. I like this one. This 1 in 25 Johnson variant with Godzilla and Batman. What's Batman gonna do right here?
Big old kick.
Yeah, what's he? Yeah, is he just gonna kick him in the face? I don't know what he's planning on doing right there, but it's a cool cover.
But somehow he's going to come out on top.
That's right.
And lastly for me, I've got some real quick picks that I did not get a chance to read as much as I wanted to. But Displaced number 2 came out, which I really like the first issue of this. And I know a lot of people picked it up. Missing town in Canada, and the people start going missing and forgotten about. So really cool one there. And also Justice Society of America, issue number 9. So I'll bring this up because this book has been notoriously delayed over and over. This is going to be a 12-issue maxi series. We're at issue number 9, but people ask me all the time, when is the next issue of Justice Society? You've got your next issue this week. And we do have some variants for these books. So for Justice Society, we've got this really nice Tony Harris variant. And we also have this 1 in 25 Scott variant that we're selling for $15. And then for Displaced, we have this Declan Shalvey variant. And we have this 1 in 10 Casaluguinda variant that we are selling for $12. So that is it. Oh, wait, you've got a big
one more. Yeah.
Oh, big surprise.
One thing we wanted to show you guys. This is super cool. So this is
make way.
Make way for this. This is the giant limited collector's edition number 51 facsimile edition. And I say giant because you can see the size of a regular comic held up next to it. So this is a big, it's a big treasury size. It's bigger than even like the magazine size, like your Black Label books or your distillery books. This is even bigger than that. This is the foil cover. We only have one of the regular cover left, but the regular cover is just this, just not foil. But this is foil. It's huge.
It's a wraparound.
It's a wraparound with. So this is a facsimile of a book called Limited Collector's Edition number 51 that came out, I'm not sure, back maybe in the 70s or the 80s, but when it came out originally, that was a reprint of Batman number 232 and then 242 through 244 from Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams. This is sort of your first introduction into Ra's al Ghul. If you guys are familiar with the shirtless Batman fighting Ra's al Ghul in the desert with swords, that's what this story is. And I mean, this thing is like just absolutely
compared to the regular comic.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely huge. And it looks so cool having something this massive in foil. Neil Adams artwork, it doesn't get any better than that right there. This thing is now the foil one we are selling for $20. I don't remember how much the other one was, but it wasn't that much.
No, I think it was $14.99.
Yeah,
something like that.
But super cool because it's so big. It's just so cool.
Because big things are cool things.
Big things are cool, yeah.
Okay, well, that is it for our show. It was a big one this week with a lot of really great stuff. But don't forget to head over to infinityflux.net right now, where you can buy these books that we just talked about while supplies last. So hurry on over there as fast as your little feet will take you, because this stuff is going to go fast. And just enjoy all the other fun things over at infinityflux.net. Pre-order your books, set up a subscription. It's free, and you'll start getting comics very soon. And stay tuned for our show coming up on
Wednesday.
We'll be going over comics that you can pre-order by the weekend, so you don't miss out on any of those. Anything to add?
This is awesome. This giant book is awesome.
This giant book is awesome. Leave us a spider.
Do a banana, because
banana
or a monkey or whatever you guys know what we're talking about.
There's a lot of apes in this one, so leave a monkey or a banana emoji, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.